It's America's National Park of Speed for the IMSA Mazda MX-5 Cup this weekend. Good morning and welcome to a relatively early start for the Mazda teams and drivers. This green and pleasant land has been racing around this circuit since 1955. We're in the most beautiful part of Wisconsin, just off the lake, just inland from Lake Michigan, and Elkhart Lake is our closest town, and it's a town that lives and breathes motorsport. Originally around the public roads around that area, but in the mid-1950s, a group of very sensible local businessmen and landowners decided to carve out this 4.048 mile circuit, using the rises and falls of the geography to mimic the roads that were originally raced on. 14 corners and an absolutely brilliant place to come motor racing. Well, hello everybody, Shea Adam joins me in the booth, and we're into the clutch part of the season now, Shea Adam, with Riley Dickinson holding a very decent lead indeed.
Aaron Johnson, yes, with a big advantage of nearly 200 points over Celine Roland. So watch car number 24 starting 6th in today's race with the dark blue Mazda. He leads the watermelon liveried car from Hickson Motorsport, that being Celine Roland. And then third in the championship, well, it's the defending championship winner. That would be Jared Thomas. He's got a soul red Mazda. It's got the yellow roll cage though, and that would be car number 96. He starts just ahead of championship leader Aaron Johnson in the 5th position. Celine Roland, by the way, has a bit more of his work cut out for him, starting 12th today. 26 cars set to take the start of the race. Half the field, John, are rookies.
What I meant to say was he's doing a bit of a Riley Dickinson from the other championships. We've lost a couple of cars, haven't we, this weekend, Shea?
Yes, Grant West and Ethan Tyler will not be starting today's race after both having separate incidents in the kink in separate sessions, as a matter of fact. But that has been a trouble point this weekend for all cars in all sessions.
It is two rookies on the front row as we look at our Mazda starting grid. The number 55 Hickson Motorsport for Jonathan Neudorf has pole position ahead of Nate Cicero in second place in the number 83 McCumbee Macaleer car. Spark Performance and Robert Noaker racing on row 2. Gresham Wagner in the number 5 from the 13 of Robert Noaker in 4th position. Row 3 is JTR, an old JTR road. Jared Thomas, who is the JT from JTR, is in P5 on the inside of row 3 in the 96 car, and Aaron Johnson, championship leader, with the 24 car on the outside. Then John Jodouin for McCumbee Macaleer Racing. Then we've got Justin Fletcher for Copeland Motorsport in 8th position. Max Opalski, his Copeland Motorsport teammate, is one row further behind in 9th. And rounding up the top 10, another rookie, Thomas Annunziata, in 10th position for Hickson Motorsport. 4 rookies in the top 10, a front row full of rookies. We were joking yesterday that we used to remember, Shea, when rookies knew their place and wouldn't be bothering the front end of the field in their first season in the championship. But indeed, half the entries here are rookies this weekend.
It will be interesting to see if a rookie breaks through and takes the victory in today's races, because yes, we have 2 45-minute contests today, or if maybe the experience will win out. Road America, not the easiest track that we go to, 4.048 miles, a lot of new tarmac laid down, and it's been catching people out left, right, and center. But John, if you're a rookie, that's an advantage for you. If you've never raced here before, you don't know any different. So we could see people not making passes at certain places because they've decided, you know what, with this tarmac, it doesn't really seem like a viable passing option, whereas some of the veterans might have gone, I've made this move before, I can make it again. Oh, no, I can't.
This track laid in just over a month at the back end of last year, starting in October and finishing in early November. It is coming in nicely this weekend. Track temperature at the moment, nearly 80 Fahrenheit. That's 26 Celsius. It is a darker colour, so when the sun comes out, it retains the heat in the air. It's 70 Fahrenheit, or if you prefer, 21 Celsius. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup, 45 minutes on the clock as the cars climb the hill to what we expect to be the green flag right in front of us. It's in the air as Preston, left-handed flagman, gives us the green flag for our first race of the IMSA Sports Car Weekend at America's National Park of Speed. That looked pretty good. Nobody breaking ranks across the line. That's not allowed. And the front row goes down to the first corner as they started. Everybody 2x2 through turn one, almost 3 wide for a moment under the Arians. Under the Arians Bridge, they're down to turn 3. This has been an action area in the past, but still they're holding their 2x2. Quality stuff. You only see this in the Mazda Championship. The Idemitsu Mazda Cup drivers are 2x2 in places here where no other championships can actually do that. It seems at some stage they defy the laws of physics. And now there's the break. And now Jonathan Neudorf in the black and orange car gets a little bit of ground and is able to take the racing line, but that took all the way to turn 5 with Nate Cicero trying to drop in there in second, 3 wide going under the Corvette bridge as down the inside Aaron Johnson, championship leader, was having a little look in the 24 car there but couldn't get through. Leaders beginning to pull away. And this will be the story of the race, Shea, Adam. If you can get some drafting partners early on, you want to break down that 10, 15, 20 car field, as we saw earlier on. Great move down the inside of turn 8 for Thomas Annunziata, who started in 10th and is coming through. But the guys at the front of the field, they won't battle each other too hard. They want to break the packs down into manageable numbers early.
Yeah, they do. Separate them and then go after them. And what we're seeing is Aaron Johnson actually falling down through the field quite a bit, our championship leader. It was a great start for Robert Noaker, who was looking at trying to take second away from Nate Cicero, but that didn't work and actually worked against him going into turn 5. Now Gresham Wagner firmly in hand of that third position, battling with the 2 cars for the lead, pushing Cicero to the lead, and all of a sudden Jonathan Neudorf on the inside. We have Cicero going around the outside. Who is Gresham Wagner going to favor here?
Well, you've got to pick one of the guys ahead of you.
It's so Cicero.
Cicero goes through. Wagner giving him a little push through. Turn 13, Billy Mitchell corner, but here comes the pole sitter down the inside. Neudorf again for Hickson Motorsports. Up the hill for the first time, and we have got a gap. So that, 15-20 car gaggle that started is down to about half a dozen, maybe 7. As they come across the line now, 2, 4, 6, 7, almost 8. As right off the back of that is Thomas Annunziata. That's why that number 10 car was making move earlier on. Down the inside, Gresham Wagner with help from the 96 with the yellow roll cage. That is Jared Thomas, JTR Racing proprietor, I think we can say. Down towards turn 3, and the leader has the clean racing line. Gresham Wagner for Spark Performance. Then, once again, side-by-side action. Which road do you take? This is all tactical at this stage. As soon as they start fighting, the second group of cars, led by Celine Roland over the line from 9th on down, that gap, which is about 1.5 seconds at the moment, Shea, that will disappear very quickly.
It will, and Celine Roland is making a great start in this race by moving up through the field and closing into that leading pack, starting 12th, remember. He's already up to, where would that be? 9th now, so 3 cars on the opening lap. But this battle for the lead will not go away. And keep in mind, Jared Thomas, for the first time this weekend, without his dancing partner, because we do not have Aaron Johnson in that lead pack. Johnson is behind Roland. So trouble for the championship leader early on. Maybe he's just saving his tires for a bit later in the race. As side by side, now Annunziata is up to 5th, and that was a bit of hip and shoulder further back. As who was it? Was that our pole sitter, Jonathan Neudorf, coming back on the track? I think it was.
5 minutes already gone, and we're only on the second lap. Round about 2.5 minutes around this circuit.
Cicero led lap number 1, by the way. We need to keep track of who our lap leaders are because 10 points for leading the most laps.
Exactly. And what do points make at the end of the season?
Real cash money.
Real cash money. She got it in within the first 5 minutes.
There we go. Check it off your bingo card.
She gets the bonus. Top 3 pulling away then, just for a moment. And now you begin to understand what we were talking about as they come through to the last couple of corners in the final lap. These cars are open-top roadsters with a very impressive and FIA-approved roll cage in it, not just a roll hoop, and that's out in the airflow. That punches a huge hole, and it's not aerodynamically efficient. Bad news for top speed, great news for how these cars race. And if you've seen any of these races, you'll know that the draft is strong with these cars. Slipstream is king at pretty much any circuit, and at a track like here at Road America, well, it's not just king, it's essential to move forward. Side-by-side action again as Annunziata momentarily up into 4th position, but held back by the number 5 of Gresham Wagner. Gresham Wagner, remember, in that number 5 car, led across the line last time around. So Annunziata, excuse me, it was the number 2 car, I think, there that he was battling with, Max Opalski, because we've still got Gresham Wagner in the lead from Thomas, and then Nate Cicero. Black front to Nate Cicero's car. That could be a bit of a throw you off a little bit, because the rest of the car is multicoloured. Oh, too late on the brakes there.
Jeremy Fletcher trying to get very brave in turn 5, and it did not pay off. But what an opportunity right now for Nate Cicero. Started on the front row. He is following behind Gresham Wagner, series champion 2 years ago, and then immediately in front of him, Jared Thomas, series champion last year. So that is a really great opportunity for the guy who won the Mazda scholarship this year to come race in the championship. More than $100,000 for that, by the way, to learn from some of the best.
Second group now led by Robert Noaker in the white and black number 13. Coming out of the carousel.
Then we have Jonathan Neudorf, Max Opalski, Jeremy Fletcher. They're all right there together as there's dust being kicked up, and Hernan Palermo all over the back of Aaron Jansam with Celine Roland there as well. This is going to turn into a very feisty little battle further back in the field. John Jadouin is up with Jonathan Neudorf now, so he's trying to make up positions. 3 separate battling groups as there's a bit of damage to the bumper. Oh, and there's an off for Jonathan Neudorf, our pole sitter. He's off in Canada corner, did scrub off a good amount of speed and just barely nosed into the tires. That could have been a lot worse had that gravel trap not been there.
Yeah, that wasn't jump, that was push.
Correct. I didn't see who was the pusher, but it looked like Jonathan was already sideways well into the braking zone. It's not like the back end snapped off on him.
So at the moment we stay green. It appeared that the the 2-litre engine, 180 horsepower engine, has not yet re-fired. So Neudorf was in a battle with the number 22 of Jeremy Fletcher, and it was side-by-side contact that got the Natera car slightly airborne. There might be some steering arm damage to the right-hand front of Jonathan's car there, and that may be why he can't resume. Also, Thomas Annunziata is off the track. He was well up there, the number 10. Yes, a left rear puncture on the 55. That's why the car is crabbing. He's going to make it back to pit lane. We are still under green. Annunziata has gone a very, very, very long way off at turn 1. Now, back in the old days, those tyres weren't there, and he would have had to show his pass to get back in.
Ooh. A lot of white smoke from his car.
Did Max Opalski give him a little tap there?
No, I did not see any contact on the back of Annunziata's car. It just was a great puff of white smoke as he went straight across. Again, another example of being grateful that gravel was there to help slow him down, because if that had been pavement and he had had no other retardation ability, that would have been a big hit.
As I say, not so very long, well, within my memory, which is quite a very long time ago now, none of that was there, and the retaining wall wasn't there. And there have been incidents in the past where cars have gone off over the edge down there. And search for it on your favourite video search site. We've stayed green for there you go.
That's okay. I wasn't going to say anything about Thomas being stuck and us having to go recover him, because we saw last weekend the power of magic. Cars able to drive out of the gravel around here for the first time ever.
Sheena Monk drove a Mustang out of that a couple of years ago. By being very patient and not over-revving the engine. I think Thomas had a problem there, if I'm being honest. He locked up everything and the car wasn't slowing down that much. I wonder if it was maybe a slightly sticky throttle.
Well, and the really unfortunate thing for Thomas Annunziata is he came into today's race 4th in the championship, tied with someone who's not here and just ahead of someone else who's not here. So it looked like he was going to be able to hold position, maybe even move up a bit. With this finish, he's going to be moving backwards in the points, especially considering that 7th in the points is Gresham Wagner, race leader, and the guy who currently has the best lap of the race, which is another 10 bonus points.
He's going to lose the lead lap in about 15 seconds. The car is flat towing, helped by the Road America safety crew. We've already got the IMSA AMR intervention vehicle standing guard at turn 1, and one of the Chevy safety trucks already getting down there.
I told them this morning that I hope they had a very boring day.
Always tell them that.
If this is the most action they see, then I'll be very happy with that. The incident involving the 55 and the 22, that's Jeremy Fletcher, and the Jonathan Neudorf incident at Canada Corner, under review by Race Control. So we'll wait and see what they determine.
So that number 10 car then dropping down to the end of the runners.
He'll drop even further, though, John, because the 2 cars behind him, they were in the pit lane, and both of them have left.
So Jonathan Neudorf has been in and out of the pit lane. Left rear tyre puncture, made to go on the outside of the number 22. I think it's just the extreme sideways motion of that left rear tyre and wheel combination. Rear's alloy. And the tyre scrubbing across, doing its job, slowing him down. He's back out again, but he has dropped off the lead lap. Joey Rainey in the number 30 has been in and out of the pits as well. And therefore he has had an issue and dropped a lap, but he's back out. So he's down at turn 3 as well. They'll get back onto the end of the line, but there will be a lap down. Grant West and Ethan Tyler not starting earlier on in this race.
This does massively shake up the Rookie of the Year potential points, because Thomas Annunziata was leading those. If he finishes last of all the rookies, which would be 13th as far as all of our rookies are concerned, that's going to make an uphill battle for the man trying to go for the additional $80,000 for the Rookie of the Year.
Not to be sniffed at all.
Going green this time by.
Great work by our track services and recovery teams. Before we go back to full house, full noise racing from the IMSA Mazda MX-5, always take an opportunity to thank all of our corner workers, marshals, volunteers, extremely professional volunteers, and without whom we could not go motor racing, giving us their most precious gift, the gift of their time. Plus our safety crews, of course, and all of those around the circuits around the world this race weekend who are giving up their time to check passes and tickets, help get the car parking sorted, feed us, keep us going, and particularly here at Road America, where the food concessions are second to none.
I'm heading to the gearbox after this race. I need an egger.
If you haven't been here and you don't know what that is, you don't know what you're missing. It's absolutely fantastic. Which track has the best food in the world? And tell me why it's Motor America. It's,
VIR has given them a run for their money now too, though.
Yeah,
especially with the restaurant. Incident involving Celine Roland and Heather Hadley for a pass under yellow at turn 14. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one as well. Don't like to see passing under yellow.
Race Control will take a dim view of that.
Yep.
It looks like we are not going to quite get the whole field back together again, as we're waiting for Jonathan Neudorf to get on the back of the line.
Green flag is waving, and we now see Gresham Wagner lead his 4th lap of the race.
Started in 3rd position. Moves from Jared Thomas as well.
They were all together, John. They were pushing across the line.
That was a, 28-wheel Mazda train. Hernan Palermo in the number 20. Easy car to spot that one. Up from 13th position to 8th as it stands at the moment. Down the hill to turn 3. Still Wagner leading. And that work that the top 3 did to get out in front of the pack, of course, that now has to happen again. And once again, under the Sargento Cheese Bridge, we're forming up behind the leading 6 or 7. It's too wide. It's not going to help the causes of those drivers early on. And still half an hour to go. Top 5 just starting to break away. Oh, there's a touch there. And that is Palermo. Drama for the Llama Farmer. Into 5.
Oh, he got pushed out a little bit wide. He's fallen back behind Celine Roland now for car number 20. He can recover from that, though.
He bumped the back of Jean Chaudouin in the Macumbi Makalia Racing number 39 ahead of him. Just missed his braking spot a little. Look at the right rear of the number 39, the black and white car with a little bit of blue on it as they go down through turn 8. Was it the 30? No, it was the 22. My apologies. That was run into the back of. Ooh. It was the black and white car. That was Jeremy Fletcher who was involved in that incident running into Canada Corner with Jonathan Neudorf earlier on. So he's got a magnet for other MX-5s in that car.
I didn't see him doing anything wrong, though, John, in that instant. It looked like Palermo turned in maybe a little bit too soon.
I think Hernan just missed his braking point by maybe a couple of feet.
Yeah. Into the pit lane for Thomas Annunziata, by the way. He's made it back around. The Hickson Motorsport crew is going to work on that car. They'll try and get him back out. We'll wait for more information from the team, though. And now there is a penalty that's been issued for Jeremy Fletcher. Incident responsibility with Jonathan Neudorf. Drive-through penalty. That's going to be very painful. Takes
him out of the draft, and he will have to wait to see if there's another full course yellow. Needs to get in very quickly. Coming to the end of the lap now through turn 14. Watch for the black and white number 22 pulling off to the right-hand side and into the pit lane. Pit lane speed limit does not start till just before the bridge, so it brakes as late as possible to get down to the pit lane speed. It's very steeply uphill there, which helps. Well, that's another lap led by Gresham Wagner. Top 3 again with maybe a couple or 3 MX-5 lengths between them and a pair of cars, which is Robert Noecker and Max Opalski. Copeland Motorsport, number 22, for that contact. Just squeezing to the outside. Race control at IMSA likes to see a little bit of racing room given. And as Jonathan Neudorf was coming down the outside, there wasn't quite enough width given to him. And that's why the number 22 of Jeremy Fletcher has been assessed that penalty. Got the top 5 back together. Nice move by the green and black Max Opalski down into turn 5. It's a really tricky place. It looks dead easy down there because you've got a long straight and you're coming into a corner that's got plenty of runoff if you do make a mistake. But it's downhill braking and you're putting extra weight and pressure on the front wheels, which are trying to slow you down and turn you at the same time. Very easy to lock up a front tyre. Same down at the bottom of turn 8, but that's made to look very easy indeed by Nate Cicero in that car with the dark front and then the colours of red behind it. So he moves up into second place.
Cicero realizes that Gresham Wagner has led a lot of laps now, and he's only led 1. So for those 10 bonus points, he wants to get back to the front of the race. Gresham Wagner, though, won his championship very handily by accruing as many points as he could, including those bonus points. So Gresham likes to lead the most laps. He really likes to get the fastest lap, though. That's the one that he's the most interested in, John.
Top 5, almost back together, then a little gap.
That was a great pass by Max Opalski on Robert Noecker. 3 times a winner here in this series, in this championship at this track. So Robert Noecker knows all the tricks in the book. Very good, clean execution from Opalski in the number 2.
Now, let's see if the cars behind Gresham Wagner team up here, coming up the front straight. They're coming out of turn 14 now, right across the yellow and red curbs and using a bit of the concrete runoff, but not too much. Let's see if anybody breaks ranks and tries to out-drag the leader down into turn 1. It is a braking area, it's an opportunity. Well, the top 2 bump drafting, second 2 not quite that close, but here they come. Little bit of a dab of the brakes from the second place car of Nate Cicero as he was checking to make sure the pads were right there on the brake discs, the brake rotors. It was 3 wide further back, which is going to get a little bit untidy, but the action's in the front 5. Down to turn 3, Wagner under pressure again. Is he under pressure though? What was Nate Cicero doing there? He didn't pull out, Shay, didn't really make a concerted effort. Don't think that the leader is brake testing the cars behind when you see Gresham Wagner flashing his brake lights. He ran off at turn 3 and bounced the left-hand side wheels and tyres into the dirt. And what he's making sure there is that hasn't bumped the brake pads away from the rotors. They need to be right there. You do not want any play in the brake pedal when you go for it to make the big stop at the turn 5.
We've got 5 cars in the top 5 from 5 different teams. No one has any allies to work with. And yes, you're correct. We saw Cicero tapping the brakes as well before the run up into 6. And oh, a big off. Who is that? Can't even identify which car it is.
I think it might be Bailey Cruz.
It's backwards going into turn 5. Full course yellow is out. There's fluid on the racing line as well as debris. Was it Bailey Cruz from Hickson Motorsport? We'll wait until we get a better view of the number before we speculate as to which car it is, but very large hit.
No, I think it's a 49, actually. I think that's Andrew Wilson, Macumbi Macalia Racing. He's lost that under braking going down into turn 5, and we are straight to full course yellow. There's a lot of fluid on the racing line.
Gresham Wagner is going to be very appreciative of this because the more laps we run under yellow, it's more laps for him to lead.
Looks like the incident started, given the witness marks on the circuit, actually started at the kink before the run down to turn 5. So the left-hand kink on that run down from 3 to 5, it is given sort of a corner number as corner 4. But the drivers don't consider it a corner because you're flat out through it in absolutely everything.
Even walking it, you're flat out. Don't lift at all.
No lifting.
So
IMSA safety crew, by the way, at the car. And we'll bring you news of that as soon as we have it. We've neutralised the field.
Gresham Wagner leads 1 more lap of this race, and given that we have now less time to go than we have had time in the race, he will get the 10 bonus points for leading the most laps, John. He's led 6 of the 7 laps that we've completed. Fastest Sector 1 that lap did go to Aaron Johnson, so we were seeing the championship leader starting to put things together again. He was in the 6th position.
Door is open on the stricken Andrew Wilson number 49 car. And
we've got the 01, the 02 both on site.
Not reading anything into the fact that Andrew hasn't got out yet. He's under the auspices of the AMR safety team. He's got out under his own steam. That's great to see. Safety team just checking the young driver to make sure he's all right. He raises his hand in acknowledgement to the applause from the crowd. Very knowledgeable crowd here. And they don't come to see the crashes, they come to see the racing. And that was quite a severe impact there for the rookie, and he's walking unaided. That's the good news. The reason that the safety crew don't want drivers to jump out of the car is because they want, they are much safer sitting in the car until the racetrack has been properly neutralised, and B, they want to make sure that the adrenaline is not pumping so much that they can't feel any injury. So they do an initial, I was going to say inspection, that sounds more like for the car. Initial look at the driver whilst he's still in the car. And assessment was the word I was looking for. So the initial assessment is done with the driver in the car. They ask them a few questions. They're making sure that they are compass mentis. And just because these cars aren't maybe the quickest that we have here doesn't mean you can't still have a big accident, and that is why there is no compromise whatsoever on the safety features of these cars. Full FIO roll cage has done its job there. The door still opened. Andrew was able to climb out without needing assistance. Thank goodness we didn't need the fire suppression system, but the cars have a fully approved system on there as well. We have seen engine fires in the past. I think of St. Pete's we had a couple of incidents. We did see a car in the air at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca.
And land on its cage.
Land on its cage, and the driver was able to extricate himself and walk away. So when you look at these cars and you see, oh yeah, that's, you know, just a little Miata, that's a fully fledged racing car. The 180 horsepower, 2-litre 4-cylinder engine, normally aspirated, of course, is left untouched. In fact, it's sealed from the factory, or from the builders of these cars, which is the brothers Fliss up in Daytona Beach.
And a testament also to the safety work that was done to help develop these cars by Long Road Racing. Tom Long, Andrew Carbonell spent countless hours trying to figure out how to make these race cars even better. And they have done just that. So we very much appreciate the work that those ladies and gents did. This race used to be called the Alana Long for a very good reason, and we still miss her. Indeed so.
Yes, no compromises. That was clear from the very start with Long Road Racing, Tom, and Andrew Carbonell, as she mentioned. And that's because anytime you take a race car out on a track, whether it's a test day, you're trying to break a car in, run it in, or you're going racing, there is no guarantee that it will come back the way it went out. Driver error can be one thing, something can go wrong, you can get caught up in another's accident. And great to see that Andrew Wilson got out of that McCumbee McAleer racing car without any problem at all. The question will be, does that car get repaired, or does McCumbee McAleer Racing have another spare car?
That was the spare.
That was the spare. I was going to say, we do have sometimes spare cars, don't we?
Well, we've got one right now, and hello to all of our friends that are IndyCar drivers who are taking a break from their driving duties in Nashville to pay attention to this series, because it is the favorite series of race car drivers all around the world. You might notice, you might have heard last time we raced, we had a Canadian guy in one of the cars, James something or other.
Hingetown.
Hingetown, that's right,
yeah,
yes.
Hingetown.
But yeah, hey James, we were very happy to have you in the series last time out.
Yeah, it was great.
Your car is out on the circuit right now. Peter Atwater actually developed a bit of an electrical issue, and JTR said, let's get the spare car out for him. Let's not risk it for qualifying. So the Maple Leaf flies once again, and Peter Atwater, car number 26, making you proud out there right now, is the Colorado-based driver. But we're happy to see these spare cars utilized because they bring him to the track every weekend.
He's running in 18th position at the moment. Rear end damage to the 49 McCumbee McAleer racing car. There is an easy access to the back of the pit and paddock.
Love it. Love seeing the Canadian flag flying proudly.
A lot of Canadian support here this weekend, as you might imagine. We are not that far away from going back to green here. I think we'll get a good 15 minutes or thereabouts. Just a reminder, if you're watching for the first time, an unusual, not unique, but unusual part of this race championship. It's had Sparks Racing on the side of that car.
Threw me out for a second,
yes.
too.
Yeah.
Since we do have a team called Spark
Racing.
Performance.
Yes, exactly. Not unique, but certainly unusual, this championship, paying out, as she likes to say, real cash money. And the prize fund extended this year. In fact, when I say extended, doubled.
Yeah.
It has been for some years that the overall winner of the championship picks up a cool $250,000. Let me just say that again, $250,000. $100,000, and the championship payout goes all the way down to 10th in the championship. Added for this year, a similar amount, which is split between all of the races.
Race incentives.
Race incentives, it's called. It's finish money, it's prize money. It's going back to the old days of motor racing in some respects.
Yeah.
It starts at $6,000 for each race victory over the weekend, and again pays all the way down to 10 this year.
Correct. So $6,000 for the winner, 5 for second, 4 for third, 3 for fourth, 2 for fifth, and then $1,000 for each competitor who finishes between 6th and 10th place. Now, we're not talking about being able to pay for everything, but it's enough to help out. Oh, I want an egger. I want an egger, please.
Breakfast sandwich for me, I think.
We should go try the broasted chicken, the 24-piece bucket. We were staring at it all last weekend.
Do you not want any? That's just for me.
Well, I mean,
that's
sure.
just the small option. A good hash brown is a thing of beauty.
It is true.
And a breakfast wrap with ham.
No, the brat.
Yeah.
We're in the land of brats.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's later on in the day, though. I always think you start with bacon or ham.
Hello to all the people hanging out at the beach, at the carousel. I like that you have the life preserver. That's planning well ahead.
Great crowd this weekend. They had to endure some pretty filthy weather earlier on in the weekend, with a storm blowing through on Thursday evening. And there was a bit of rejigging of campsites, and some of the vendors got hit pretty hard as well. But everybody pitched in. It's very much a community among sports car and endurance racing fans and the paddock. And it was heartwarming to see, and everything was put back together partway through Friday, actually.
Yeah.
Really impressive. Huge amount of beautiful cars here as well, even just coming up for the day. Wisconsin and their blue collector license plates are out in force this weekend. It's like a car show at various parts of the track. This circuit has had a lot of money spent on the infrastructure down through the last couple of years, including the repaving, which started off in October and finished in November last year. The whole circuit repaved. Before that, extra footpaths and golf cart paths around various parts of the circuit that you didn't used to be able to go and spectate at.
You
and
tried.
I very nearly injured an ankle on the far side of the track. They're taken up because they're very popular places to go and watch down by the Kink and down on the other side, drivers right of Canada Corner. And the wood carvings, of course, throughout the property. Local artist Ben Bushka from Manawa, Wisconsin. He's been creating these wood carvings for a few years now. Taking inspiration from nature, from bears, eagles and wolves. A memorable touch to the Road America experience.
Lights are out on the safety car. We are going green this time around. Excellent news. I know a couple of people on the track walk were laughing as I was admiring one of the wooden sculptures. And
they're fabulous.
Having a bit of fun with Bob Chapman.
It just breaks, it breaks it up. And if you haven't been here before, even if you have, they keep being added to. You walk around the corner and go, oh, haven't seen that one before.
Exactly.
And huge amount of camping going on. Big parties. Going to have a wander around the campsites tonight, see some friends. Really knowledgeable motorsport, and particularly, as you might imagine, sports car audience here. It is truly America's national park of speed, and those who make the pilgrimage to it every year for not just this race but the other races throughout the season, and there are plenty of events here. Not sure I've ever spoken to anybody who's left other than in a state of complete euphoria and having enjoyed themselves over the weekend. And good to see families here. Very much a family-friendly venue here at Road America, which is great for the next generation of IMSA and sports car fans. And the good news for everybody, whether they are trackside or you're watching further afield on our live world feed, which we have for every IMSA Mazda MX-5 Cup race, is that our lovely safety car, smashing though it is back in the pit lane. That means the Field is under control of Gresham Wagner, and he accelerates because the green flag's in the air, and we've got 10.5 minutes of action around 4 miles of the circuit. They're all back together again. Take a deep breath now. It might be the last one you get. This is the sprint for the $6,000 and for the points for the championship down into turn 1. The multicoloured number 5 with the orange on it is Gresham Wagner side by side behind as Nate Cicero, the rookie, goes slightly wide. That's going to cost him not just 1 place, that's going to cost him 3 places, maybe 4 places, as he tries to tough it out on the outside of turn number 3. That's the red and blue car from the side, the dark coloured front end to that car. Through has gone Jared Thomas and Max Opalski. Jared in the 96, the red car with the yellow roll hoop. Max is in the bright highlighted green and black car, so they've gone through to second and third. Who's that in fourth? That's the 13, Robert Noaker, who's come through. The black and white car.
Mr. Road America, Robert Noaker.
Loves this place. Loves this place. This is slightly better news as well, of course, for Jonathan Nerdorf, who's got back onto the end of the trail, the tail of the field, should I say. But he's got a lot of cars to pass to get meaningful points here, and he's chased for the rookie championship.
Before we went to that full course caution, Nate Cicero had claimed back the fastest lap of the race. So right now, Gresham Wagner has a new goal. If he wants maximum points from today's race, he needs to claim that back too. He's already got the most laps led. He wants the fastest lap too.
9 minutes to go.
Sideways.
Big commitment through. That wasn't coming out of the carousel. That was in the middle of the carousel. It's grip limited through there offline. And that is commitment from all of these drivers, running right to the edge of the curbs at the right-handed king, the number 30, right on the back of the lead group there. Joey Rainey lapped down, and he was on the ragged edge of adhesion.
I could hear Celine Roland going, "Wah!" all the way from here, and we're as far away from him as we could possibly be.
That is very true. Far too much fun going on here. Now, still 8.5 minutes to go, and I just wonder what the tactics will be here, Shea, particularly from the championship leaders in that top group. Celine Roland down in 8th position in the brightly coloured 87, as behind him, was that Woody Hyman going for a little there?
Further back, one of the dark grey cars, as there's a change of the lead at the front of the field, and all of a sudden, Jared Thomas finds himself out front.
Getting a little push from Max Opalski, and down the inside, Robert Noaker in the black, white and violet over the top of the headlights there through turn 1. Got to watch track limits there at turn 1. It is being monitored this weekend, but only if you gain an advantage of time or distance. Wow, leader last time around, down to 4th by turn number 3. Gresham Wagner's got a fight on his hands, and here comes the number 39 at the back of that group, the mostly white car, Jean Jodouin from Macumbi Macaleer Racing. Where do you want to be, Shea, in 7 minutes' time as you're coming to the white flag? I'm not sure you want to be leading.
I have no idea where I want to be right here, because at least I'm not going to be upset about where I finish in this race. Sitting in the booth is a lot safer of an opportunity right now. Gresham Wagner already back up to 3rd, though. Max Opalski needs to be careful. He has only ever had 1 career top 5 finish, so he doesn't really know what to do at this point of the race to stay there.
That top group are battling now. We're into the last few minutes, and look what's happened. They build up a gap. It's gone. It's completely gone. Celine Roland is back on the back of this group now, and this is because there's fighting going on. No one is taking the optimum racing line. No one is maximising their pace into, through and out of each of the 14 corners here. What does that do? It increases your lap time. It's slowing you down, and therefore anybody who's got a clear run behind is going to close up on you and be able to start battling. As soon as that stops, the gaps will start to string out again.
The hilarious thing is that all weekend, John, people have been talking about how there is one line on this track. There is one way to go around it. Not for these competitors. In Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup, you've got options. And that's what Robert Noaker just used to reclaim the lead of this race. He's not had it as far as we are concerned for 2023, but he's been there a lot over the course of the past as Alex Bashura goes way wide through Canada corner.
Yeah. Only one racing line round the track. Hold my refreshing beverage. says Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 as a championship in one voice. Top 4 then, coming around with just on 5.5 minutes to go. I reckon that's the lap they're about to start, and 2 more after that.
I'm sorry, that was comedy. Gresham Wagner led the last lap. He then didn't lead again until they were coming across the stripe, so he's credited with leading both of those laps.
Dropped down to 5th
Yes.
at one stage. So that is encapsulated there in 4.048 miles. That is Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 racing in Gresham Wagner's last 4 miles around this circuit. So he's back to the front now with the red car of Jared Thomas of JTR behind him. Then the lighter coloured machine is Robert Noecker in the Noecker racing car. I'd still say any of the top 8 or 9 could be on the podium at the very least.
There's 14.
Cicero coming back down the outside again, down into turn 5. He likes that behind Cicero. Aaron Johnson, he's had a good run up through the field as well. This is all about gaining championship points here. You've got to understand, if you are battling for that $250,000 at the end of the season, you have to take what's on offer here. Far better to get points for 4th or 5th or 6th than to end up in the wall.
Exactly, and for Aaron Johnson, this weekend is about being smart. He is still ahead of Celine Roland, who is chasing him for 2nd in the points. But the good news is his teammate, Jared Thomas, is further ahead of him, so it will close the gap to the lead, but it will help close the gap to 2nd. And that's what Jared really wants, a 1-2 for his team in this championship. And more importantly, another win in the championship 2 years in a row.
So we've got pairs of cars now. It's Noah's Ark time. It's Road America. Top 2, Gresham Wagner, Jared Thomas. Then it's Robert Noecker and Nate Cicero. Then Aaron Thomas and Max Zapalski.
Aaron Johnson.
What did I say?
Aaron Thomas.
Aaron Thomas. Oh yeah,
He's family.
Aaron Thomas and Jared Johnson. Yeah. Interchangeable. Sorry guys. King. And it's another issue at the fastest part of the circuit. It's Jonathan Neudorf again who's involved. And the other car that is in that, I think, is Joey Rainey. It is. That is going to be, I'm afraid, all she wrote. Both cars with heavy damage. Right, driver's right for Joey Rainey. That's the younger of the 2 Raineys here, son of Joe. Also racing this weekend. Oh, it's not. It's the...
it's Hannah Zellers.
It's Hannah Zellers. My apologies.
Sorry, Jonathan.
She was running in 16th position. A similar colour scheme to Jonathan Neudorf. In fact, they are Hickson Motorsports teammates, and they were running together in 16th and 17th position. So my apologies to those that follow Jonathan there. Jonathan, of course, was way to the back and has actually done a cracking job, having got back onto the back of the field after his incident down at Canada Corner. Remember, had to change a wheel and BF Goodrich tyre, and he's actually back up into 15th position. And that makes him 1, 2, 3, 4, 4th, I reckon, in 4th in the rookies' points. So, once again, our hard-working safety crews are on site. Hannah is out of the car and is walking unaided. The safety team still talking to Joy on the other side of the track. Hannah's gonna door now opened, and Joy able to get himself out once he unfastens the belts. Well, let's try and pick out what's happened here. It was a little touch on the back of Hannah Zellers by Joy, and that pitched her into what is euphemistically called a tank slapper. The cars are massively loaded up on the left-hand side there. Joy coming through the kink just a little bit quicker than Hannah, perhaps showing a little bit of inexperience there. Could have lifted or just trailed the brake with his left foot and just tipped the back of Hannah's car. It's already loaded up. It spins first to the right and then snaps back. That's the tank slapper part of it. So she goes into the wall driver's left. Joy spinning in avoidance and trying to go around, and then lost control of his car. One of the fastest parts of the circuit. He goes in driver's right. And the race confirming now from race control. The race will end under yellow. So it will not be one of our closest race finishes of the season, but we don't we don't count yellow flag finishes in our lap distances, our race finish distances, which this must be one of the few series in the world where finishing under yellow is likely to give you bigger gaps between the top 5 or 6 than actually finishing under green.
This is only our third race of the year, I believe, where we finished under yellow.
Correct.
Yeah. The second race at St. Pete's, the
yeah.
first one at Watkins. And we do have 14 rounds of the season total, so this being round 9, we have a lot more opportunity for close finishes. Assuming that everyone crosses the finish line where they are supposed to,
yeah.
Our points battle in the Rookie of the Year is down to 10.
We'll confirm that once the checkered flag has come out. That's all subjective post-race scrutineering checks. But coming to the line, a win is a win is a win. And Gresham Wagner, how important then was getting back to the lead after he dropped down outside of the podium finishes on that previous lap, led the penultimate lap under green, leads the final lap under yellow, and comes through for Spark Performance. Gresham Wagner leads it from JTR Motorsports Engineering's Jared Thomas in second, and Robert Noaker Racing in third. That's the 3 steps on the box. Nate Cicero is the top rookie ahead of Aaron Johnson in 5th position. Then Max Opalski, Jean Jodouin for Macumbi Macalea Racing. Heather Hadley in 8th position. She's been running very well this weekend. Best finish of Heather's season, I think. I'll query
might
that.
Might be tied on that.
I think you might be right. She is second rookie, finishing up the top 10 with Anthony McIntosh from JTR and Celine Roland 40's way back up to Hickson Motorsports. So the pass for the lead and ultimately the win made at the start of what was to be the last partially green flag lap as Gresham Wagner got pushed to the lead by Jared Thomas. The race ended later that same lap in terms of green flag racing. A little tap on the back of Heather Hadley.
Hannah Zellers.
Hannah Zellers by Joy Rainey. Took them both out of the race. Nothing deliberate in that. I think we should say that immediately. May just get a little talking to from the race direction and race control. The good news is, while the cars may be damaged, both of the drivers got themselves out.
For Gresham Wagner, in 5 races here at the track, he has finished 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. He's had pole position. He's had the fastest lap. Today he got the win and led the most laps. He now has everything.
So you mentioned the Rookie Championship down to 10, being led by?
Being led by Thomas Annunziata, still 10 points ahead of Nate Cicero, but big shakeups in the championship. It's still Aaron Johnson, 2,670 points ahead of Celine Roland, 2,430. But now Jared Thomas, 90 points behind Roland. They were 200 points separated coming into today's race. In 4th place, it is now Gresham Wagner, today's race winner. 5th place is now Robert Noaker, 2nd in the race today. Then is Annunziata down in 6th and Cicero in 7th.
We come into the last part of the season, and before we can hand out any checks and trophies, we've got to have a second race here tomorrow, and that today, in fact, 3:40 Eastern is the time. And we'll regrid the cars. Not much time to get the damaged machines fixed up and in race preparation. But for race 1, Spark Performance, Gresham Wagner with what he could not have known at the time would be a Last green flag pass as he came to the line. Takes it from Jared Thomas in second, Robert Noecker in third, and Nate Cicero wins in the Rookies Championship with a fourth placed position. All the championships closing up and more racing to come with Shea Adam and me, John Hindhaugh, later today. Join us from America's National Park of Speed for the next round of Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Challenge for 2023.